Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris Cox. I'm the Technical and Business Development Manager at Codra. And I've got with me my colleague Nigel Cooper, who is the Technical Support Manager.
Hi there. Hello, everybody. My name's Nigel Cooper and I lead the International Technical Support function at Codra. Me and my team look after support cases along with the delivery of consultancy and training. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Nigel. Okay, for people who don't know who Codra are, there's a few on the webinar today. Codra has 35 years experience of being a software development for real-time software. We have 180 employees, which are spread around our offices. We have 12 offices, mainly in France. We're headquartered in France, which is where Nigel and I are sitting today. But we have an office in the UK that looks after UK and Ireland, which is where we're normally based. We have offices in South Africa and in Belgium to look after Benelux. Outside of that, we have distributors around the world in Spain, Portugal, India, China, Canada, etc., etc. We also work with over 300 systems integration partners who are certified by us for delivering turnkey solutions based on Panorama. In 2024, we turned over 28 million euros, so we're very much a medium-sized company, I guess, in the world today. Everything we do, everything we provide is made in France. So where we're sitting at our headquarters at the moment is a central knowledge hub. Anything we need to find out for you about Panorama, how it works, what it does, and how we maintain Panorama is all done here. We put 20% of our turnover year on year into research and development, so we're always trying to introduce new functions, features, use the latest technologies, etc. So Panorama is always a very relevant product year on year. And we've got over 70,000 licenses deployed worldwide. So we've got quite a customer base around the world. I'm going to pass over to Nigel to explain about the development cycle and how we came here with Panorama Suite 2025.
Thank you. So Panorama Suite 2025 is not just another version of the Pano Suite. It marks quite a milestone. It's a culmination of a development cycle that began in 2021 with the release of Panorama Suite 2022. And introduced innovations such as Web HMI. Another product release was Panorama Suite 2023, which brought in JSON RPC, which we'll talk more about later. So all of these changes have been rolled into our new Panorama Suite 2025, with even more recent technology introductions such as native Siemens S7 protocol, which we'll also speak about later. The Panorama Suite 2025 is our new long-term service channel version, replacing the previous version of 2020. And for those people that don't know what LTSC is, it means that the product maintenance will last much longer than the other versions, potentially a number of years. It benefits it should benefit you as it's a stable environment, and it should lower your total cost of ownership, supporting longer equipment life cycles, lower maintenance costs, and none of the need to reevaluate business applications frequently. And it should lead to a better return on your investment. So I do hope that you consider Panorama Suite 2025 for your next critical infrastructure project. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Nigel. So let's have a look at what we're going to discuss today over the next sort of 40-45 minutes. We split this down into 5 categories: deployment and architecture, application building, interoperability. We're going to introduce a new module for the Panorama Suite, which is an MES module called Panorama COOX. And Nigel's going to tell you some more about the portal, and then at the end we'll do a quick conclusion and go into a Q&A. So any questions that you've got throughout the webinar, if you just put it into the chat. We have another colleague with us who's in the background here, a gentleman called Julien, that's running the WebEx for us. He'll do the collation of the questions, and you'll get to hear him later. So on with the first category. In fact, on with the first question. You should get a multiple choice box up on your window. If you don't worry, just add your answers into the chat. But the question is, during development, which of these difficulties do you encounter most frequently? Number 1, opening multiple communication ports. Number 2, setting up and managing certificates. And number 3, managing web connections. And you can select 1, 2, or 3 of them. Okay, so let's have a look at deployment and architecture. We're going to talk about grouped communication channels here, and the whole idea here is to bring you much better security, so cyber security protection, and a lot of flexibility in the architecture that you want to run the Panorama on, so the flexibility of the network. In 2025, we introduced a notion of a single communications bus for inter-workstation exchanges. Basically, this is a single point on each machine that we're going to use to handle communications. This means that we're much more in line with IT to OT convergence, and enables you to meet IT standards much more readily. We have also done a lot of work on the product of reducing the cyber attack space, and this allows you to deploy natively cyber defensible architectures. So let's have a look at some 3 key things that we've introduced here. The first one is we've introduced JSON RPC. JSON RPC is a web service protocol. It's an alternative to what we had before and what we've been working on ever since the product was created, which is DCOM. Nigel will tell you more about the details and the differences in a moment. But basically, you no longer need a domain controller, unless you have to for other purposes. You have a choice of communications direction, so a server can make a connection to a workstation, or a workstation can make a connection to a server. And it's still a real-time communications bus, because ultimately we are a real-time data platform. So the speed of the JSON and the DCOM are very compatible. We've worked a lot with communications around SQL as well, to try and bring the SQL communications so that we protect more SQL databases, again reducing the cyber attack space. So this idea of making things more secure, more difficult to be attacked, because there's only one point in doing it. This means that not every system needs direct communications with the SQL. Therefore, it's much more easy to defend the communications between Panorama and SQL Server. And the third one is with the web client, we've brought along a reverse proxy. This means that you can hide whatever we're talking to behind a reverse proxy, all the Panorama elements. If you need to expose PLCs to the outside world, to a web browser, then you can do so. And again, Nigel will go through that. We enable you to select URLs, so we give you the flexibility there. We don't force you into using one or another, and you can have whitelisting of clients that are authorized to come to the web portal and be allowed in, so you can control it. And we do this without any third-party tools. We do this with developments which are native in the product and are managed by us, so the longevity is there. So I'm going to pass over to Nige, and instead of me talking, he'll explain what we've done with some diagrams. So over to you, Nige.
Thank you, Chris. So on screen you should see a schematic of a Panorama E2 solution configured with a good old-fashioned distributed COM. Multiple ports are open between the web server on the right and the functional server composer on the left. So multiple ports are open, which makes configuration difficult to configure and secure. It's got a larger cyber attack surface, and if you want to use a secure DCOM, then you would need a Windows domain controller. It's mandatory. So let's see what an application configured with JSON RPC gives us. Next slide, please. As you can see, it's a more simplified architecture. There's only one port open between the web server component on the right and the functional server composer on the left, which also gives you a lot more benefits. It's a reduced cyber attack surface. It's easier to configure with only one port being open between components. There's no reliance on a Windows domain controller, so one less failure point to worry about, and you can secure the traffic using certificates as well, so making it making the data protecting the data for your systems. Next slide, we're going to talk about databases. So the schematic will show you a classic architecture with the web server making direct requests to the SQL database, which exposes that data communication channel to potential attacks. What we've done is we've consolidated that traffic into one communication channels, which we can see on the next slide. So as you can see, the database calls are all routed via the service bus using JSON RPC to Composer, where Composer, the functional server, will make direct calls to the database. So again, making it easier to configure and reducing the cyber attack space. This also is the same for Windows desktop clients. Next grouped communication channel is the reverse proxy. A little more complicated, so we'll break it down, try and break it down for you. So this top diagram shows you ungrouped communication channels of a web client connecting to a PLC. It's an example, if you want to authenticate or use a web server on the PLC, connections would be directly from the web client. This is obviously not good design, security design. So with the new grouped communication channel, which is the diagram on the bottom, we group all the communications via serving our web server using this reverse proxy, and this is built into our product, so therefore reducing the cyber attack surface and making the application design more secure. That's it. Thanks. Back to Chris.
Thanks, Dan. So a couple of takeaways there. Reduced attack surface for the product, and cyber defensible architectures for the things that you want to do. So they're really the themes that we've been working on the group communication channels. We're going now to look at the second part of the deployment and architecture, which is the certificate management, because another layer that you can add on for cybersecurity is to encrypt end-to-end communications, which you do with the certificates, and they bring their own problems with them. So again, we've put some certificate tools within the product. We've want to be able to allow you to manage the certificates that Panorama uses directly in the product, rather than having to use a third party. We're talking about certificates for the internal use of Panorama here. The certificates that you can be managed more precisely and more efficiently. Teams will have the knowledge of the tools, they'll know what to use. The management of the certificates can be homogenized, so it's all done in the same way, basically. Certificates are quicker and easier to implement because the tools are already there. You don't have to go and talk to your IT team to get things done. It gives a greater responsiveness to change. And it reduces an application downtime if you have a problem with a certificate, because if you have a problem with the certificate, with its contents, or the fact that it's becoming valid, you lose your end-to-end communications if you're encrypting it with a certificate. So what we've done within the system is we've introduced a full Panorama PKI. This is a public key infrastructure for people not familiar with the terminology. The PKI is a complete full PKI. It allows you to create security keys, to ask for certificate signing requests. And there's a certificate authority that we supply, which is called Key Manager, which will enable the certificates to be signed. There's a deployment tool that puts the certificates into the right places on the right machines, and we allow you to manage the certificates. So the certificates can be revoked with the Key Manager, and they can you can make a new one and deploy a new one. And because we understand what these certificates are doing, we've also been able to manage certificate validity within Panorama. We have a service which looks after the health of what's going on a Panorama system, which is called PanoAdmin. And we've been able to add some more functions to PanoAdmin to check the expiry date and the content of a certificate to make sure it's still good to use. And should there be any issues, then you can have notifications like you would if you removed a Panorama license, for example, or if a machine was not available on a Panorama network that was supposed to be there. And you can drive Panorama alarms with these. So basically, if your certificate is going to become invalid in 3 months or 1 month, whatever you want to set, then you can have an alarm on your Scada that will alert the Scada users to go and get the right person to say, hey, we need to manage this. It'll give you an action and make sure that you have 100% up on your Scada system and have no problems with your certificates. So back to Nigel to tell you a little bit more about the tools that we've done. Over to you, Nigel.
Thanks, Chris. So the two screenshots you'll see on the slide, the top one is the network and security tool. I'm sure you've used this tool before to configure DCOM and secure your system components. This tool has new functionality to generate a certificate signing request for your desktop client servers and web servers. This CSR can then be passed to the Key Manager tool for signing. So the bottom screenshot you can see is our new Key Manager tool. It's an optional installation component of the Panorama Suite. And you can install that, and this tool is where you can define your certificate authority. So you can sign the CSRs and create a fully signed certificate, and that certificate gets passed back to the network and security tool for installation. So these two tools have complete management and control of your Panorama certificates. Now that's the configuration. Let's see how we can monitor and view the certificates. So on the Panorama configuration and administration tool, which should be all familiar to Panorama users, this is where you can quickly view and check the status of a certificate. So can you see at the bottom there's a certificate region, and there's a button called Details. So it'll give you the expiry date, and you can find out more information. Some of those data points relevant to certificate status are exposed by the Panorama product, meaning you can alarm and use them in your application, so to make sure that you never get to the point where certificates have expired. So I hope you agree that Codra have made it really easy to comprehensively protect and encrypt your Panorama system components. And back to you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. Wow. Yeah, it's you can see we've been doing some good stuff around cybersecurity, and it's really at the forefront of what we're doing. So let's move on to the next section, which is the application development. And what we've got here is we're talking about application building and then application ergonomics. So before we move on, just want to tell you that we're planning another seminar. So our next one's going to be on how to efficiently build an application. So watch out for the information that comes through our social media channels, and also directly from email for those that have registered to receive emails from us. Haven't got a date for you on that one yet, but watch this space. So, ways to build an application. We've been monitoring how our users build applications, and we want to always improve things for them. We've been very much concentrating on scripts. And we think we've now enabled replacement of scripts, probably about 2/3 of scripts, with native features in Panorama Suite 2025. So a few examples of this would be changing main views and embedded views, executing a list of commands, setting up simple Scada, so map type applications or visualizations, and implementing simple BIM functionality. BIM is building information management. We've want to make scripts easier to write as well, and we've introduced a new script development language, but we haven't taken away the old one. So please do note on at that point. And we want to make scripts easier to write, so you do less when you actually have to write a script or feel that you want to write a script. And we've introduced some methods for our components, and Nigel will explain these in a while. In short, the added value, the takeaways are we've looked at the time that's taken to implement things and helped people to reduce that time, but also made maintenance operations of applications become easier and hopefully less frequent as well. So over to you, Nige, with the 3 elements on the screen.
Okay, so the 3 features we're going to talk about regarding application development are C# scripts, component methods, and rights management. So let's start with C# scripts. We now have a C# scripting engine in our product, which Codra believe will add improved error control and debugging. There's a fully comprehensive script editor with code completion, making coding a breeze. C# is very much like VBScript, with the only real exception being that C# is strongly typed, hopefully leading to less runtime issues. The C# runtime engine integrates into our product much the same way that VBScript does, so transitioning to this new code syntax should be seamless. The next feature is component methods. So if you're familiar with developing an application and components, you normally would add child objects and properties. Now you can add a new object called a component method. Think of this as a block of code that you can directly call from a HMI object or another system component. A simple example would be a pump component where you could have a method call called start that runs some code to start the pump equipment, and this could be direct call from a HMI object instead of having to set a property that triggers a script. And hopefully that should make simplifying the execution of your business logic. The third feature is rights management. You should be familiar, if you're an application developer, with assigning an arbitrary number to an access control property of a command or of a HMI object. Now, in addition to that, you've got authorized skill and authorized area. So think of an area is a geographical or organizational access scope, and think of skills as a functional access scope. So a simple example would be if you had an electrical maintenance engineer. The authorized organization would, in fact, he's part of the maintenance team, and the authorized skill would be that he is an electrical professional. So what does that mean? That means the electrical maintenance engineer can log on to your application, and he will only see controls, views, and alarms that are intended for his business role. And this is very easy to configure in our product. And that's it. It's even simpler to create an application that is more focused on the user than ever before. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Nige. Yes, customer-focused applications are more and more important these days, and having people not to click around the screen to set themselves up every time they log on is of real benefit to everybody, to every user. Talking about users and what they have to do, integrating modern UI UX ideas into application designs. We've been doing this for a little while, but we've taken another step with Panorama Suite 2025. For those of you that don't understand UI UX, just a simple UI is the interface, so it's how you click around everything, how things look, and so on. So that if you have a common way of doing things, then when you go from one user to another user, and you've got two people looking at a user login and a user's screens after they've logged in, they see the same data presented in the same way. So that's commonality and common understanding. UX is about the user's experience. It's about getting insights from what's going on. It's about drawing somebody's attention to the highest priority thing that they need to do, as well as being able to allow them to do it in a simple way. An idea of the user experience is you can draw a parallel to your smartphone. On your smartphone, you've got little information to say. You've got notifications here, there, and everywhere, and you can decide what you want to do easily and quickly from those type of screens. So the idea is in a Scada you can do much the same type of things, but not exactly what's done on the on your smartphone interface. It allows people to develop applications which can be used by multiple different types of users, as Nige indicated. If you're a maintenance electrician and you log on, you get access to all the maintenance and the electrician stuff. It's as easy as that. So this makes very things. Excuse me. Sorry. This makes things very easy for the user. It brings a faster adoption of the system and training. And it allows you to design more powerful applications, hence enhance the Scada's effectiveness, improve the team's responsiveness to field events, and to optimize the management of your facilities, which is ultimately what you want to do with your Scada system. So, a couple of key designs here. I'll hand back to Nige to give you a few words on these. Over to you, Nige.
Thank you, Chris. So, we have two features with application ergonomics. The first one is system design. So we've introduced the concept of design themes or graphical themes. These allow you to change the look and feel of all visual objects, such as colour, fonts, drawing styles, and set these up as predefined graphic themes that the user can easily switch between. A common example would be if you have an application that's used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you could easily add a nighttime theme and a daytime theme, allowing the operators, the working shifts, to quickly change the application look and feel. If you want more information on this particular feature, then we do have a classroom video available on our customer portal. So please go and have a look if you're interested. The web HMI, we've done a lot of new functionality under the hood, and we've also improved performance. So it operates even more closely like a desktop. So please take a look at at the performance of our Panorama Suite 2025 version. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Nige. Yeah, I'd like to add to that one just to say that when you develop a panorama view, you can use it on the desktop and on the web. It's a single pane of glass these days. So the idea is there, the technology is there for you. So great. Okay, that's the end of that section. So let's move on to the interoperability section. What do we mean by interoperability? It's not just communications. It's the way Panorama interfaces and exchanges data with third-party systems. Let's go through a few things here. The whole idea here is to make a Panorama more open to third-party system and more easy to integrate with them. In terms of integration, you want to do less developments required, less specific elements to be done. You want the maintenance to be easier of these interfaces, and you want to avoid purchasing specific equipment or software to have to do so. So we want these ultimately to extend your Panorama application, which extends the possibilities within your Panorama application, to enhance multi-business capabilities, and for an application that adapts more easily to current and future equipment, whether that be physical equipment or standards. So let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got some things here. We've delivered BACnet 2020, and yeah, you're probably sitting there thinking, this is Panorama Suite 2025 and BACnet 2020. Yeah, we've delivered this across the development cycle. We've got the certification, and in 25 we deliver the second point, which is a new development for BACnet, which is BACnet Secure. So we add this to the BACnet stable of functions that we have. This is support for the Secure Connect hub. It allows encryptions and uses TCP/IP connections, and Nigel will tell you a little bit more about those in a minute. As you heard from Nigel earlier, we've added a Siemens S7comm driver natively into the product. We've had a lot of customer requests for this. And so it was something we went and did. It's a direct communication, no gateway needed, no third-party OPC server. For the older equipment, we support the put-get type communications, and for the more modern equipment, you can still use the put-get, but you can use also the modern way with the symbolic addressing. And then we've enhanced our security pack, which is the video and BMS and security equipment connection licenses, by adding Nedap, TIL, and Aritech equipment to these, and Nigel will say a few words on there. So over to you, Nigel, on the BACnet Secure.
Thank you, Chris. So you'll see on screen the diagram on the top right. It shows you a BACnet infrastructure without BACnet Secure Connect. As you can see, there's many unencrypted data channels between the Scada and the PLC estate. So quite a big cyber attack surface. The old way was typically using BACnet BBMD, where the broadcast management was using unencrypted UDP packets. So with Secure Connect, which is a diagram on the bottom right hand side, you can see that there's a reduction in the cyber attack surface as all data is routed through a Secure Connect hub. This is the, TCP communication, and you can secure this with tunnels or certificates, and it being TCP/IP, it is fully routable. So as you can see, it's more secure by design, having a reduction in the cyber attack surface. Speaking next about the security pack. This is the schema on screen, shows you all the areas related to physical and logical security for building management systems. We've introduced some new vendor support. So, for example, access control, TIL and Nedap are badge readers and access control. We also support specific protocols and standards in video and intrusion protection. So we hope there's more than enough choice for your next building management systems project. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Nige. Yeah, to put that into context for those of you who are not in the building management arena, if most sites have some form of buildings, they have some form of security. So into your Scada application, you can embed the video, you can embed voice and video control, you can send SMSs, you can email people, and so on and so forth. So you can manage who's got access to various buildings, particularly if they're unmanned. So an example of that is if you go a wind farm, you've got somebody going to a wind turbine, you want to let them in and then hand over control to them from the central control room. You can do all that, and you can manage that, and you can talk to them at the same time as well. So it's this is the type of thing that when we talk about enhancing the user experience, you don't have to use a separate system to do that. You'll interface to the separate system, but you don't have to use two user interfaces to do that. You can use one user interface all with your Scada. Okay, it's question time again. So we've been talking about interoperability there. We'd like to know from you, because this is an opportunity for you to give us some feedback for our teams, for our R&D teams here. What other third-party systems would you like Panorama to interface with? These could be standards, they could be protocols, they could be specific equipment types, etc., etc. And again, you should have a little dialog box to type into there. And if you're having difficulty with the dialog box, or if it doesn't appear, please use the chat. Julianne's receiving all of those messages, collating them for us at the moment. We'll just give you a few minutes to do some typing.
Okay, can go forward.
Okay. I've got the okay from Julian. Excellent. Okay. So now on to Panorama COOX. Yes, my name's Cox and this is COOX. Don't get them too mixed up, please. So what is Panorama COOX? Panorama COOX is an MES solution. So it is a manufacturing execution system. So this is where everybody's brain shuts down and thinks, we haven't got a manufacturing process. So please listen on, because the first module that we've implemented is the quality and performance indicators. So even though MES as a whole is quite a wide varying subject, and it's there to monitor and document industrial processes. So most people associate it just with manufacturing, but it really isn't just for manufacturing. The module that we've put in, like all other modules of Panorama, they're functions and features of the Panorama base suite, and they all follow the same reliability and flexibility. They all benefit from the same standards of robustness, cybersecurity, scalability, interoperability, multi-sector capability. And this is a completely independent to install, so COOX can run by itself if you only need COOX, in much the same way as a Panorama E2 can run by itself. Panorama Con can run by itself, and Panorama H2 can run by itself. Or, of course, you can combine whichever modules you want within Panorama. Panorama Suite really is a flexible product. Okay, so what is this MES stuff all about? So our first element, because there are more coming along in the pipeline, is the quality and performance indicators. So what on earth are these? These are things that are dedicated to equipment performance. And what we tend to find is these are often things that move. So if you've got some rotating equipment like motors, pumps, fans, this type of thing, really applicable for this, even when you're not in a manufacturing processes. So what have we delivered? We've delivered 5 things. Probably most people will understand what the first one is, which is OEE, Operational Equipment Effectiveness. Maybe the next 2 you maybe not heard of before, which are Overall Operations Effectiveness and Total Effective Equipment Performance. But basically all 3 of these are the basic same calculation, but about when things are started, when they're stopped, when they should be running, and so on. However, the time base changes of the calculation. With OEE, you schedule something to work, and you just do the calculation based on when it's meant to be running. And that's what most people do, to be honest. OOE is taking the time base of when you have it running, but also when your business is open, when the building is open, when the infrastructure is meant to be running and available, but you haven't scheduled it to be run. So you can see what other performance you could get out of the equipment. And TEEP, Total Effective Equipment Performance, is on a 24-hour time base. So again, if you've got a 24-hour operating piece of infrastructure, you've got some rotating equipment, TEEP is the thing for you. The other 2 things that we do in terms of calculations of the QPI is the mean time between failures and the mean time to repair. Basically, this is how long does it take to stop running once it's in service, and once it's out of service, so once it stops running, how long does it take you to get things back into service again? So basically, these are the calculations, and these come with ready-to-use templates, because we base our MES on ISA 95, which is used for the pharmaceutical sector. So there are ready-to-run, ready-to-use templates for operators to enter data, to say it's stopped, it's started, it's running, it's stopped because of this reason, that reason. And for managers to not only enter data manually afterwards, or to add data at a later point about the equipment and the stoppages and so on. And then the people who want to analyze all the analysis are there, and you can see that from the middle screen. So that comes as a ready-to-run module. So if anybody wants to talk to us about making their improving their performance of the equipment that they're using to run their infrastructure, then come and talk to us about COOX QPI. So the final element here is the client portal. And it's back to you, Nige, for this one. So it's Nige, here we go.
Thank you, Chris. We are continually improving our customer portal. So it should always be your first port of call for getting help and information on all our products and service offerings. You can see your contracts, licenses, download our product installers, including product updates. There's also access to both technical and marketing material. The acronym you see at the bottom right-hand corner, CSIRT, this stands for Computer Security Incident Response Team. This is where we publish information about any identified cybersecurity vulnerabilities that has either been brought to our attention or is in the public domain. So we take our cybersecurity very seriously. One of the newest and latest features is our Codra classroom. So I hope you've been looking at some of the videos. You'll find these like mini tutorials on some of our product features. They're not they're not formal training, but it's more of a refresher after training, and for people that are inquisitive to find out how to get started with our product. So please have a look, and all those videos are available, and more are being added on a weekly and a monthly basis. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Nigel. And I'd just like to say, I'm more of a user in this, because my role in the company is to answer pre-sales questions, and I don't often use Panorama to build applications, and it's quite a while since I've been on my training courses. So I use these to refresh my understanding of questions that I get asked. Very, very useful. Really, really, really useful. Okay. Let's have a wrap up here. Basically, what we've been talking about is the Panorama new features for 2025. But don't forget that Panorama is a global platform. It's a real-time platform, so if you've got any real-time data coming from equipment, it's an applicable platform for doing what you want to do with that real-time data. We can be very small. We can collect information from equipment. We can be a local HMI. We can be a full Scada. We can do reporting and analysis. We can do MES operations of use heard now, and we can combine these together and do an overall operation, and even be a full control center, so that over multiple sites around the world. So it's an extremely flexible product. So goodbye, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.